Durag Wisdom here, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Earth Date Y2K.20.04.22. This is your for your information only section. Fake Senate impeachment trial, no vindication, no adjudication, no exoneration, repeat. Number 2, please make sure you follow the advice of experts, not turd Trump and his minions. 3, no vaccinations in sight for at least 18 months. Hope I'm wrong. Right now we have a dearth in testing and contact tracing. If we want to have some kind of return to a meaningful existence, the federal government must do its part to free up the supply chains. 4, no one can tell me that climate change and how human activity is disrupting the ecosystems of our planet is not contributing to the new novel virus development. If we do not start respecting our planet and its systems, we are in for far worse ahead. See how our lives are being disrupted right now? This is going to go on, I said, for 18 months. And beyond that, who knows? I have a friend, this is number 5, I have a friend who lives in Tennessee, where I think they have a Trumpist governor. I hope that he is not, my friend is not heeding the advice of this governor of his state, who is opening that great state for business during this pandemic. Today's Trumpist Republicans, and I use the word Republican lightly, want to murder us all. Avi, please stay in. Number 6, the music you hear in the background is A History of Violence by Howard Shore. Our main topic. When I was a public school teacher, I learned an important lesson, and for this I paraphrase Shirley Jackson from her novel The Haunting of Hill House. Quote, "Those who walked there walked alone," unquote. And when it comes to voting, we are especially alone. Each year, teachers were forced to sit for useless staff development purported to help make our teaching more effective. The one thing that was never covered was discipline. Do not get me wrong. There were constant staff developments about discipline, but they were all a waste of time. The New York City Department of Education wasted tons of money on irrelevant staff development because never, ever did they bring up parental negligence. I remember when I attended school back in the day, when I was a kid, and would not dare to mess with my teachers for fear of the retribution I would receive when I arrived home. When I was teaching during the 80s, 90s, and Y2K zeros, there was no retribution for the abuse I and other teachers experienced at the hands of disruptive students and their derelict parents. So every single staff development I had to attend over the years that I taught did nothing to address the absence of parental accountability. Somehow, the idea that a parent should raise their own children was unknown to all the supervisors in charge of staff development. All of us teachers knew that staff development was just a means that supervisory staff used to let us all know that they were all around and ready to undermine us. Whether the parents raised their children or not was not something a supervisor cared about, really. As long as I kept my students in my class and appeared to be giving them instruction was all they cared about, unless they had a quote-unquote hard-on for this or that teacher or for me. I mean, someone they didn't like. Some administrators who had this hard-on for teachers they didn't like would surreptitiously use disruptive students so that they could develop fake anecdotal records against their teacher foes. In an ideal situation, the tripod of education works: students, parents, teachers. If even one of those are amputated, the entire system falls. I have yet to share with you my own experiences navigating the nightmare New York City public school system. But what does that have to do with voting? You vote alone, right? We are always reading, hearing, or viewing how voting should be made as easy as possible. Full disclosure, the teabagger Republican, I use the word Republican lightly, party, now the Trumpist party, has been trying to make voting as difficult as possible. This party, they support voter suppression, gerrymandering, and Citizens United. Trader Trump himself admitted that if nationwide mail-in voting was allowed, the Republicans would lose. There's an issue to debate regarding this, by the way, but that is for another time. Those on the other side, the liberal side, seem to want us to have an easier time to vote. They advocate for mail-in voting, early voting, and the like. But never do you hear them say that Election Day should be a national holiday. Election Day should be a national holiday. In education terms, people that represent us advocate for easy voting without having a national holiday. The same way that idiots who run staff development for educators leave out parental responsibility for discipline. Imagine how much easier it would be to teach if parents actually were forced to raise their own children. And imagine how much easier it would be to vote if Election Day was a national holiday. To be continued.